everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's Alex of Coyote Star Astrology, and this is my new moon in Libra video for the new moon Libra on October 16th, 2020 Pacific Standard Time. Do adjust for your particular time zone depending on where you are on planet Earth. How are you guys doing? This new moon is definitely bizarre. Potentially the most confusing aspects I've seen ever. That might be a little bit dramatic, but definitely as far back as I can remember, this is quite the spread. So we are going to sort through the ingredients of this cosmic recipe that we have before us and see what we can make of it. So it is a new moon in Libra, which is sort of misrepresenting itself, to be honest, because with Libra we think of harmony and peace and balance, and literally no other aspect in the chart suggests any kind of balance, peace, or harmony. In fact, there's several aspects on the contrary working quite against that. So let's look at what we have going on here. Well, first of all, the new moon in Libra is in opposition to Mars in Aries. So this is a big tug of war here because Mars in Aries is all about our personal needs. It has nothing to do with the needs of other people. Mars in Aries is, what do I want? What do I desire in this life? Where do I want to go? What do I want to create? What makes me happy? And the moon in Libra wants to be in a relationship. It wants to do what makes other people happy. It's a bit of a people pleaser, right? Can be a bit of a doormat sometimes. That's sort of the shadow nature of Libra, is people pleasing to the detriment of getting totally derailed off of one's personal journey, getting lost in the needs and desires of partners or other people. And Libra can start to have some kind of leaky energy because there's all of these cords connecting to other people. And I have a Libra moon, so I know all about this. Sort of like overextending one's energy resources in an effort to keep all of these little scales balanced with a bunch of other people. And then all of a sudden, one can very easily become derailed from their own journey. So right away, we know that there's this conflict, and Mars, of course, is retrograde. So we may not even be sure what we really want, but there is this feeling of trying to tread upstream through all of these energies. And of course, we then had Mercury go retrograde actually today on the 13th when I'm filming this, which doesn't help matters either. So I did a video where I went very in depth to this Mercury retrograde in Scorpio, so I'm not going to go as into it here, but we're going to discuss another element to it that I think is very important as we all sink down into the creepy, spooky, supernatural energies that we see throughout the rest of October. October is a weird month, guys. Just gonna say it. And Mercury retrograde in Scorpio is about going into the shadows, right? And some people are more comfortable with this than others. For some, this is very uncomfortable, scary even. And while I was preparing for this video, I kept hearing this phrase come into mind that we hear regurgitated a lot over and over and over in the spiritual community, which is this cut off the cords that do not serve, or, you know, purging away what no longer serves us. And I have to be honest, I sort of have a inner eye roll come up whenever I hear this or read this. Because, okay, first of all, yes, cutting cords with things that are toxic, unsafe, abusive, or unhealthy, great. There is a need for that and a very powerful place for that in the journey of self-realization. However, there's also something to be said for looking at where those cords lead. And rather than cutting them and banishing them and, you know, hating these aspects of ourselves or whatever, sweeping them under the rug, throwing the skeletons in the closet, there's something to be said for leaning into the shadows and doing the shadow work and having compassion for ourselves and others during that process. I have actually never done a cord cutting ceremony, or maybe once, but it's not really the route I choose to take, because what I've found is that when I have truly healed something, the cord is gone, or it's replaced with a good cord, right? And it's actually when my psyche is hanging on to something or replaying something, obsessing maybe even, or sinking into those lower vibrations, that's actually what's creating the cords. And when we surrender and we do that inner work, the cords melt, they vanish. And so do our shadows when we actually confront them. And when we're talking about Libra, we're talking about polarity. We're talking about the scales. The scales bring up light and dark, yin and yang, the good parts and the bad parts of ourselves and others. We can't have balance in the scales if we're focusing on the light parts of ourselves all the time. And this Scorpio retrograde, I mean, we're already seeing this in politics. We're seeing it in the media. There's a lot of shadows, a lot of secrets coming to the surface. And macro, micro, this is coming up in each of us as well. And so we need to become the phoenix. We need to embrace the higher octave of Scorpio. If we stay in the primal levels of Scorpio, we can get lost in these lower frequency characteristics such as jealousy, envy, hatred, vindictive behavior. And this, it drives me crazy. This archetype, this kind of overblown Black Lilith Scorpio archetype is really romanticized. It's romanticized in the media, it's romanticized in movies, even in astrology, even in the spiritual community, of like this like sort of like dark queen. This is like the kind of power hungry, crazy ex-girlfriend that like sets her ex-boyfriend's house on fire because she found out that he cheated on her, or slashes some other chick's tires. It's just like, it's just gross, right? And it's very dramatic and it's very theatrical. We even see this in like the witchy kind of community of spell casting and kind of like, oh, I'm a Scorpio, don't cross me, or I'm going to make your life miserable. Like all this weird stuff. It doesn't translate well into real life. And for the soul that's actually entrapped in those lower frequency energies, it's hell. It's hell on earth, right? And within Scorpio, we are given a choice. We can get stuck there and continue to attract situations that trigger these lower frequency energies, whether they be addictions or whatever they are. Or we can become the phoenix and transform and become the eagle. And when we become the eagle, we can see the higher perspective. And usually this means forgiveness for Scorpio. And it's the hardest thing for Scorpio to do because Scorpio obsesses and it hangs on to things. It has to embrace forgiveness, not only for itself, but for others that have harmed them or hurt them or whatever. It has to crack open that armor, become vulnerable, become brave, and become loving. So if you can bring to mind a soul on your journey, another individual who has seen you in your shadow, seen your humanness, seen your creature, if you will. And rather than banished or abandoned you or shamed you, held loving, unconditional, and compassionate space for you. And then stuck around long enough and gave you the chance to do the work to grow and correct it. That's what we have to do for ourselves during this month, during these times, as we interact with other people. We don't have to, but it's a great opportunity. And I know that so many people feel the vice-like influence of these transits right now. There's very little wiggle room. There's very little freedom right now and very little certainty. It's very hard to plan right now. It's very, very hard to know what the future holds. But this Mercury retrograde is going to help us figure it out, especially because of these oppositions to Uranus. Because Uranus brings in unexpected twists and turns and new information and insights. And we're officially on that journey as of this new moon. So welcome the insights, welcome the plot twists. Expect the unexpected. Uranus is unpredictable by nature. You can't really know where he's going. Know that there's going to be more opportunities starting in the beginning of November, and questions will clear throughout November. When Mars goes direct on the 13th, that's definitely going to help. But until then, we're going within. We're doing the shadow walk. We're doing the healing work. And the new moon's ruler, Venus, she's in Virgo. Venus doesn't like to be in Virgo, guys. I love Virgo, but Venus doesn't really so much. Because Venus is all about beauty and love, and Virgo is about perfection. So Venus in Virgo is very analytical, it's detail-oriented, it's looking at often where things could be better, which is why it's a difficult placement for Venus in Virgo. And we see that Venus is in opposition to Neptune in Pisces, and Neptune in Pisces is about our fantasies and ideals. In other words, the perfect picture, the way that we would like things to be. So Venus in Virgo is standing across from the ideal, and she might not be feeling that great about herself. It kind of looks like she's standing in front of the mirror, kind of nitpicking at herself, nitpicking at her surroundings, like, oh, that's out of alignment, and this isn't exactly how I want it to be, and this could be better, and I could be better, and it's kind of like masochistic, and it's a little bit overcritical. So we want to watch out for that within our interactions with our partners at this time, because we might be a little bit fussy and etherically and energetically disorganized. Our expectations for our reality might not be met at this time, and that's okay. The new moon and Mars are in square to Saturn and Pluto, which just basically says that external circumstances are challenging. Where we see ourselves in the long term may not be lining up with certain other things that we want, / our relationships. And Venus and Neptune are also square the nodes. So because Neptune is in Pisces, this is about creating a new reality through the North Node. Venus in Virgo is about health and purification Thinking about how this new reality lines up with our health. Is it pure? Does it reflect what I actually want? Does this make sense for me right now? And not letting ourselves feel any kind of Libran guilt. That's a big one with Libra. Don't feel guilty for looking out for what you want right now. And don't feel guilty if you don't even know what that is. While we go through this Mercury retrograde journey, this Mars retrograde journey, there's a lot of uncertainty. So no banishing, no abandonment, none of this scorpionic shit. It's greeting, it's accepting the imperfections, sending the shadows love, breathing compassion into the places that need it. And grab your popcorn, folks, because as far as what's going to be coming out in the media, Mercury rules information, Scorpio rules secrets, secrets of the sexual nature, secrets of the nature that nobody even really wants to think about. There's no telling what's going to come to light, especially in the full moon. The next time we talk, the full moon on October 31st looks interesting. There's going to be a lot coming up this month. And we just have to remember that whatever is coming up needs to. Certain things need to be revealed for Libra to do its thing, to get that balance and harmony, that yin and yang. So I'm sending you guys so much love. Thank you so much for tuning in. Oh, and I have a quick little favor to ask, and I never do this, but I know I'm not the only astrologer that's experiencing this. Views on videos in the astrology community have gone down pretty considerably since, honestly, it's gotten worse and worse, but it's kind of started at the beginning of this year. I have no idea why that is, but if you guys could share the videos, if these resonate with you, simply because I think we're going to have to transition to a little bit more like organic method of getting these things out there. And, you know, I don't do this stuff for likes, but it is a lot of work to put this stuff out and then have no one actually see it. You know what I mean? So yeah, any help in that area would be so appreciated, not only for myself, but for any other astrologers that you guys like. It's rough out there right now. And I would like to link you guys to my Instagram. I'm putting it up there on the screen with my website. On my Instagram, I do a lot of free astrology in my Instagram stories, and I do a lot of promotions for courses and things like that. So be sure to check me out there. And if you would like to reach out to me for a reading, head on over to my website. I am doing signups for readings at the moment, so you can reach out to me there. And yeah, so much love, guys. I'll see you around the full moon. Bye for now.